What if I told you this midsize truck is still beating the Toyota Tacoma where it actually matters, even in 2026?
On paper, the Tacoma looks unbeatable, but after spending time with the 2026 Nissan Frontier Pro-4X, there were a few things that genuinely caught me off guard. We're talking real off-road hardware, old-school reliability, and a price that undercuts its biggest rival by thousands. No gimmicks, no overcomplicated tech, just a truck that might be doing the basics better than anyone else right now. But does that actually make it the smarter buy today? Stick around, because the answer isn't as obvious as you might think.
The mid-size truck segment in the US is more competitive than it's ever been. And for years, the Toyota Tacoma has been the default choice for buyers who want something tough, reliable, and adventure-ready. But quietly sitting next to it is a truck that's been doing things a little differently, the Nissan Frontier. And for 2026, Nissan is doubling down on that approach with the Frontier Pro-4X, a trim built specifically for buyers who actually plan to leave the pavement behind. The Frontier has always appealed to a certain kind of truck owner. It's not chasing trends or flashy redesigns. Instead, Nissan has focused on durability, proven hardware, and a more old-school truck feel that a lot of buyers say they miss. The Pro-4X trim takes that mindset even further, targeting off-road enthusiasts who want real equipment from the factory, not just aggressive looks. What makes this 2026 model is especially interesting: the timing. The Tacoma has gone through major changes recently. New engines, more tech, higher prices. And that's left some buyers wondering if it's become a little too complicated and a little too expensive. Meanwhile, the Frontier sticks with a simpler formula, and that contrast is exactly why this comparison matters right now. This isn't just about which truck looks better on paper. It's about value, real-world usability, and whether a less hyped option might actually make more sense for everyday drivers and weekend adventurers alike. As we get into the details, you'll start to see where the Frontier Pro-4X shines, and where it might still fall short. The real question is whether those strengths are enough to challenge the Tacoma's long-held crown. Let's start with how the 2026 Nissan Frontier Pro-4X looks and feels, because this truck makes its intentions clear the moment you see it. The design is bold without being overdone. Wide stance, squared-off edges, and a front end that looks tough rather than trendy. The Pro-4X trim adds all the right off-road cues: chunky all-terrain tires, skid plates underneath, a slightly lifted look, and that signature lava red accent stitching that pops against the darker exterior colors. It's the kind of truck that looks just as at home covered in dirt as it does parked at Home Depot. Step inside and the Frontier keeps things refreshingly straightforward. The interior doesn't try to wow you with giant screens everywhere, but it feels solid and purposeful. The seats are thick and supportive, especially up front, with enough bolstering to hold you in place on rough trails. Physical buttons and knobs are still here for climate, drive modes, and volume, which is something a lot of truck buyers genuinely appreciate. The infotainment screen is easy to read, quick to respond, and supports Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so you're not missing the essentials. Under the hood, Nissan sticks with its naturally aspirated V6, and that's a big part of this truck's personality. While others are moving to smaller turbo engines, the Frontier's V6 delivers smooth, predictable power that feels confident both on the highway and when crawling off-road. Throttle response is immediate, and there's no waiting for boost to kick in. It's paired with a traditional automatic transmission that shifts cleanly and doesn't hunt for gears, which adds to that old-school, dependable feel. Off-road is where the Pro-4X really starts to separate itself. This trim comes with a proper four-wheel drive system, an electronic locking rear differential, Bilstein shocks, and underbody protection straight from the factory. On uneven terrain, the suspension soaks up bumps without feeling loose or uncontrolled. You can point this truck down a rocky trail, a muddy access road, or a snowy back route and feel confident that it's built to handle it without modification. Of course, it's not perfect. Compared to some newer rivals, fuel economy is just okay, not class-leading. The rear seat space is usable but not huge, especially if you've got taller passengers back there. And while the tech works well, it doesn't feel as futuristic as what you'll find in some competitors. Then there's pricing, and this is where things start to get really interesting. When you line up a Pro-4X against similarly equipped rivals, the Frontier often comes in thousands less, especially when you factor in standard off-road hardware. That gap raises an important question. Are you actually giving up anything that matters?
Because on paper and in real-world driving, this truck keeps checking boxes. But how do those strengths stack up once we lay everything out side by side, including what it does wrong? That's where the story takes a turn in the next section.
This is the moment where expectations meet reality. After the specs, the features, and the price comparisons, the 2026 Nissan Frontier Pro-4X finally gets pushed into the kind of driving most owners actually care about. On the road, the first surprise is how normal this truck feels, in a good way. It's stable at highway speeds, doesn't wander in its lane, and the V6 delivers power smoothly without drama. There's no sudden surge, no awkward hesitation, just consistent pull that makes merging and passing feel effortless.
But the real turning point happens off the pavement. Drop it into four-wheel drive, lock the rear diff, and the Frontier starts showing its personality. Over loose dirt, uneven rocks, and steep inclines, it doesn't feel stressed or overworked. The suspension flexes, the tires dig in, and the truck moves forward with a calm confidence that's hard to fake. There's no need to fight the steering or second-guess throttle inputs. It just does what you ask.